Over the last decade, hero abilities in Clash of Clans were set in stone. You hit the button and the king got big and the queen got invisible. But the introduction of hero equipment has fundamentally rewritten the rules of the games. We have moved from the games of fixed stats to a modular strategy. Today we aren't just looking at what's cool. We are gonna rank 33 pieces of equipments on hundreds of attacks, depends upon the pro level meta shifts and the raw mathematical value. The ores in this game is very much limited, so you cannot afford to waste it on wrong gears. The ores are one of the most precious resources in the game. So let's rank all the equipment so that people don't make mistakes wasting ores on terrible equipments. Let's start at the absolute bottom. These are the equipments that either serves as an introductory placeholder or has been so violently power crept that they no longer serve a purpose in a serious army. The worst equipment is the archer puppets. The archer puppet is a liability. At higher town halls, spawning a cluster of low HP archers is essentially ringing a dinner bell for scatter shots or poison towers. Due to higher amount of splash damage, they die instantly, and the invisible queen often get caught in the splash damage meant for the puppets. Do not spend a single glowy ores on these equipments. The second worst equipment is the barbarian puppet. In the era of monolith and ricochet cannons, a few angry guys with swords offers zero tactical value. At number 30 is frozen arrows. This might be the most controversial ranking on this list because it is an epic equipment. However, being an epic equipment actually is its biggest weakness. The frozen arrow requires sturdy ores, the rarest resources in the game, and it only provides a single target's slow effects. The frozen arrows doesn't support the rest of your army. And as we move up the list, you will see equipments that offers 10 times the value of half the investments. Coming in at number 29 is the heroic torch. The Grand Warden's ultimate strength lies in the ability to protect the entire army. The heroic torch has a mild effect, and the duration is so short it feels like a sneeze in a hurricane. When compared to the common tier warden items, the torch is an expensive disappointment. At number 28 is the Vam Stash. There was a time when the Vam Stash was a meta, the king to walk around the perimeter forever. But as the defenses got stronger at Town Hall 16 and 17, the healing simply couldn't keep up with the burst damage. It lacks synergy with other top tier equipments, making it a relic of a bygone meta. At 27 is the Royal Gem. It is a fine equipment. It provides a burst of health for the Royal Champion, but it offers no utility, no extra damage, and no secondary effect. In a world of multi-effect alternatives, this is just too basic. As we move into the mid-tier equipment, we find that the equipments in this case aren't necessarily bad. But these are some of the equipments that requires a very specific plan to work. Coming in at number 26 is the Noble Iron. It is the entry-level gear for Minion Prince. It is decent for early game funneling, but it falls off hard because it doesn't play well with the prince's more advanced combinations. It is a transitional item. At 25, it is Hog Rider Puppet. This used to be a gold standard for RC. However, as the defenses have scaled up, the level of the spawn hasn't kept pace. They get vaporized too quickly by modern defenses, and better options like electro boots and rocket spears has simply pushed the hog out of the limelight. At 24 is the life gem. The life gem is the definition of niche. If you are running a low HP army like hybrid hog and miners or a massive balloon spread, the HP boost is vital. But for almost every single other strategies, the Grand Warden has more impactful tool in the kit. 23 is the Rage Vial. The classic, it is still solid, especially if you haven't unlocked the King's epic equipments. The Rage Vial needs to be paired with Giant Gauntlet to provide a scary burst of speed and power. But it is waiting for a new piece of equipment to truly bring it back into the top tier. At 22 is the Henchman Puppet. A utility tool, its best use is clearing out the seeking air mines or picking off stray buildings during a strong attacks. It is a role player but not a superstar. At 21 is the Seeking Shield. The Seeking Shield is satisfying. It chains through 4 defenses and can help finish a funnel. However, once the shield is thrown, the RC is left with no passive benefits, making it less attractive than gears that provides long-term value during the raid. At the rank 20 is the Invisibility Vial. It is called the Queen's Old Reliable. It is still great panic button, providing a massive damage burst and a few seconds of safety. The only reason it ranked 20 is that the Queen now have access to gears that allows her to survive without needing to go invisible, or gears that does way more damage than any invisible levels. At 19 is the Metal Pants. A surprisingly good alternative for Minion Prince. It provides a significant damage reductions, effectively making the Prince a mini king that can tank through the core of the base. At 18 is the Meteor Staff. The passive damage from the Meteor Staff is high but unreliable. In Legend League, where every modifier matters, the Meteor Staff can be hit or miss. It is a heavy investment that requires pro level to truly feel its impact. At number 17 is the Giant Gauntlet, and once it ruled the game's meta. While the damage reduction and splash damage are great, but in the modern meta sense had moved away from King just existing in the core. We now prioritize gears that helps with pathing and provide instant high value destructions. At number 16 is the Haste Vial. We are now seeing the resurgence of this equipment in the current meta. The Haste Vial is still excellent for spirit walks with the royal champions, allowing her to tear through the compartments before the defenses can lock in. Its only flaw is it's a selfish equipment. It doesn't help with the rest of your army. Now we are entering the territory of must-have equipments. If you have these equipments, your hit rate will go up. At number 15 is the Healing Tome. A massive radius of healing that can keep a pack of bowlers or a root riders alive through high damage zones. However, it has been recently eclipsed by raid gems as the players favor speed and power over slow healing. At number 14 is the Snake Bracelet. This is a high-level play items. The snake provides the king with incredible survivability, distraction mechanics that keeps the defense of your main damage dealers. It's a pro favorite for a reason. At number 13 is the Dark Crown. It is essential for anyone using the Minion Prince in Dragon or Electro Dragon armies. It provides a late game advantage in high leagues that are hard to ignore. At number 12 is the Magic Mirror. Spawning clones of twins is high octane fun and high damage. It is number 12 only because it can be a bit chaotic. Sometimes the clones target the wrong things. Still, the burst damage is undeniable. Coming at number 11 is the Healer Puppet. It is one of the best common items in the game. It allows you to bring healers to the part of the base where you otherwise couldn't. It saves space in your army camp and provides a second wind to your queen in a smash attacks. At number 10 is the Earthquake Boots. Opening walls for free is one of the best options for barbarian kings. The Earthquake Boots allows the barbarian kings to create its own party. And when paired with the spiky balls, he can essentially delete an entire quadrant of the base by himself. At number 9 is the Rage Gem. The Rage Gem is arguably the best passive equipment for the Grand Warden. It makes your healer heals faster and your troops hits harder during the entire duration of Warden's life. It is the engine that drives the modern smash attacks. At number 8 is the Giant Arrow. The Giant Arrow is a skill shot that pays off. Being able to swipe 2 air sweepers or 2 air defenses before you can even drop your troops is a massive head start for air attackers. Even for ground attack, it is a top tier funneling tools. At number 7 is the Action Figure Puppet. This thing is a tank. The giant it spawns is essentially a fifth hero. It draws fire, crashes walls, provides a massive meat shield for your queen or twins. It's an expensive investment, but one that pays off in every single raid. At number 6 is the Rocket Spear. If the range is king, the Rocket Spear allows the RC to take out the most dangerous defenses like the monoliths or single target infernos from the same distance. It is simply put to use and are incredibly effective for setting up the back end of an attack. At number 5 is the Fireball. The Fireball is a spectacle. At level 24, its radius is so large it can clear out an entire core of a base. It has birthed entirely new strategies like the Warden Walk Fireballs, and it remains one of the most powerful tools for any high-level attackers. At number 4 is the Dark Orb. It is slow and steady, which ultimately wins the war. The Dark Orb provides a massive area of effect slowdown. By slowing down the fire rate of the defenses, it effectively increases the HP of your entire army. It has near 100% usage rate, with the minion prince for a reason. It is extremely broken. And ultimately the top 3. Coming in at number 3 is the Eternal Tome. There is no argument here. The invincibility is the strongest mechanic in any strategy game. The Eternal Tome has been the best equipment for Warden since it was introduced. It protects your army through the most dangerous part of the base. Every single army composition from air to ground relies on it. It is the ultimate common equipment. At number 2 is the Spiky Balls. The Spiky Balls is pure destruction. It bounces through bases, one-shotting key defenses and creating massive gaps in defenses. And when you pair this with your number 1 pick, the Barbarian King becomes less of a tank and more of a nuclear options. It is easy to use, high value and works at every stage of the attack. And finally at number 1 is the Electro Boots. The Electro Boots didn't just join the meta, it created a new one. At Town Hall 17, the Spirit Walk strategies dominated the pro scenes and the Electro Boots played a massive part of it. The aura damage clears out the skeletons on small buildings. The self-healing keeps the hero at full health. And the chain lightning effect dismantles any compartment in seconds. Even at level 1, this equipment provides more value than many max level equipments. It is without a doubt the best equipment in Clash of Clans today. That's it for today's video. Thanks for watching.